Hi, this is music journalist Justin Kantor. I would like to share with you some excerpts from my recent interview with the legendary disco remixer Tom Moulton, who worked on the late great Dan Hartman's 1978 LP Instant Replay, which has just been reissued in expanded CD form by Soul Music Records out of England. This expanded CD reissue includes full-length 12-inch bonus mixes of the title track as well as Countdown and This Is It. And in the accompanying booklet is my historical essay featuring quotes from Tom about working with Dan and his legacy. So be sure to purchase the CD from Amazon, Dusty Groove, or other fine retailers. And in the meantime, enjoy these interview excerpts. Do you recall if you knew Dan prior personally to doing the Instant Replay project, or if not?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in what capacity did you know him?
Well, I knew I was a fan of the Edgar Winter group,
Okay.
and I'm trying to remember exactly how I first met him. But Dan loved disco too. He really did.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to remember. I know it was right in the time I was having a lot of big hits.
Right.
So he called me. And he asked me, if I'd be interested in doing this song.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, I might consider it I'd have to hear it first. So anyway, he played me the demo. And I said, I'll tell you what, I'll make a deal with you. I said, if I can get that to number one with my mix, would you hook me up with Edgar Winter?
Oh,
He
okay.
said, well, why would you want to, to do something with Edgar Winter? I said, because I want to meet the mind that could dream up a song like Frankenstein. I said, I just think it's one of the most creative songs I've ever heard in my life, and I just can't imagine a brain, just coming up with that concept.
Right.
And he said, okay, well, if it does go to number one, I'll certainly do that, but then if you do connect, you got to promise me you won't ask him about Frankenstein till the project is finished. And I went, what does that mean? He says, you'll find out if it ever happens. I said, okay. So he says, okay, well, look, it's going to take, about 5 weeks for me to record it. And I said, well, how'd you do the demo? He said, oh, no, I have that on the 16 track. I said, I want to mix the demo.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
And he said, well, no, I'd rather do it right. I says, trust me, you'll never get it. Oh, I'll do it better. I says, Danny, you know how many times I've heard that story? I said, no, get me the parts of the demo. And he said, okay, all right. And so I got it, and in fact, he said he wanted to come down with me to the studio, and he did. And then he just argues with me. He said, oh, I don't want you to do that. You can't have me singing two lines at the same time. And then I said, Dan, you were really going to be quiet, so I'd rather you wait and do your comments afterwards. And he goes, well, I did I said, Dan, I know you did everything, but now it's my turn, And he said, okay. So he's playing everything on there except the sax, which is Edgar.
And you're talking about the song Instant Replay, right?
Only Instant Replay.
Okay.
I'm talking about.
Right.
That's
Gotcha.
correct.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So remember, it was a demo we did,
Yeah.
So anyway, when I wanted to be able to end the song. And I had a hard time with Dan because he didn't quite follow the concept I was doing. I said, Dan, you have to wait till it's complete before you throw in your 2 cents.
Right.
And I said, at this point, you're throwing in your 10 cents.
Yeah.
So anyway, so when I wanted to end it, I wanted to go, baby, 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 and then dum-da-da-dum, dum-da-da-da. He hated it, absolutely hated it. I said, well, then I'd rather not do the song if we're going to, continue like that. I said, it has to end that way. Well, he thought it was silly. And then when it made number one in the country, and he had to do it on Bandstand, when he's singing it right, he's lip syncing it, and then when he goes to baby, 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 all the girls just screaming and everything, and I said, that's what I told you was going to happen. He just thought it sounded so like it was fake. I said, Dan, the song is way up high, and I want to, the baby, baby, I wanted to resolve it. I didn't want to fade it. I wanted to bring it back down, and he just thought that was so weird. But then, then we had to do it live like that. He really had a fit.
The closing track, Time and Space, kind of the mid-tempo, almost kind of like a ballad. Like, what did you have any thoughts on that one? I mean, I know you did other slow records at the time, but maybe not as many like that. So was that was there anything about that song or what he did with it that you thought stood out?
No, I just tried to make it as soulful. Remember, if there's anything soulful in a song, I will always build the song on that, because there's something about soul that, years from now, the soul of it will always, be in the forefront. And that'll be the thing that always stands out, is that, oh, wow, that's got a nice feel to it. Because there's just, and even though you don't recognize it when it first comes out, when you go back to it, you realize, oh, that's pretty soulful. That's why black stations would play it.
It's interesting because I also, when I was looking back at just some of the credits, I had noticed, I mean, not that it would impact anything that you were doing, but although Dan recorded most of it Schoolhouse, I noticed that Edgar recorded one of his parts, at least at the Hit Factory in New York, the sax solo for This Is It, I think. So,
well, because obviously he was doing because the Schoolhouse is up in Connecticut, and then
he was probably touring or something at the time.
Well, yeah, but Hit Factory's right in 42nd Street, so it's convenient to everybody. So it's not far from CBS. CBS was 50th Street, so it's like 8 blocks away. Short blocks, by the way. So he could go down and knock it off real quick. So,
and was the Sterling Sound, because that was where you did the work with him?
No, Sterling Sound was 57th Street.
Okay.
57. In fact, Sterling Sound was only 3 blocks away from where Blue Sky was.
Okay. Yeah. And that's still around, isn't it? Sterling Sound?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's interesting, again, to think about that, because I guess when he gave you the other songs, they were not like demos, right? They were more like finished. Well, Dan does great demos. I got news for you. If he calls them demos, he's if that's not for real, it's the next closest thing to real. Okay, yeah. Yeah,
and believe me, I've heard a lot of tapes in my day, and believe me, those are symphonic masterpieces compared to some of the stuff I get from people.
Oh no, I'm sure. I guess I
say, oh, this is a demo. Oh no, that's finished. And I go, oh my God, it's a good thing you didn't do a demo. I can imagine what that would have sounded like.
I guess because what I was thinking, because when you mentioned his hesitance about you mixing it from the demo, I kind of wondered if when he did the stuff afterwards, if he tried to, I don't know, get it more done beforehand because he preferred it.
Well, he tried to make it more finished. But see, like I said, when you're making a demo, you actually put more effort into it because you're trying to convince somebody of it.
Yeah.
Whether it's for somebody else or for himself.
Yeah.
Now, when I heard it, I like I said, I didn't know if he had planned on doing that himself or it was for someone else. I didn't know. But see, it had that magic. There was something, that 10, 9, there was just there was an energy and excitement, and I thought, that could be a big record.
Yeah.
It had it's something, and it was different enough, and it had that hook.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
And, the minute I heard Instant Replay, I thought, well, usually that's about football or basketball. Well, let's have the instant replay. I said, why would you have it as a song? That doesn't make any sense. But yet it was a familiar, instant replay is something everybody hears, but you don't associate it with music.
Exactly, yeah. So it was created.
So I mean, it had all these kind of elements, and I said there's just too many things going in its favor. I really think I could pull that one off.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, well, that I think.
And if you notice, it was a big R&B hit too.
Right. Yeah. But and it's funny because I'm just thinking about the energy of it and how. Well, I mean, usually you think of disco having energy, but it did have a unique energy to it that that was different than a lot of disco hits at the time.
But it was a pop. But I knew it was going to be a pop hit. I just knew it was. Yeah. I mean, it just had that magic.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And, Dan was a cute guy, when he was young. I mean, and all the girls like cute guys. So, but he had all this. And he was in a group that a lot of people knew, Edgar Winter Group. And, and he wrote Free Ride and he played, and sang it. So, I mean, he just had a lot of things. So he was kind of bubbling under. And, and most DJs, who read liner notes would be familiar with his name.